August 6, 2015, Wikispeed, Lynnwood, Washington, United States shop. I'm here with Lorena, Abby, and John, and here's what we've got done. First, all the wall of done was, it filled up the whole wall, so we recycled it after tallying how much we got done each day. So here's days and how many small, medium, large, and extra large stories, and those map to Fibonacci sequence numbers to factor our velocity. And here's our historic velocity world. So there you've got it since we've been tracking. Here's what we got done. Make outdoor grease and oil shelf away from heat. John and Lorena did that. Measure and diagram shifter mount hole pattern. John did that. Measure and diagram engine mounts. John and Abby did that. Then fab second suspension, and we all worked on part of that. I started it, and then Lorena took over, and then Lorena and Abby took over, and then I joined again, and we finally got it done. And now what's in progress is attaching that suspension. So let's show it to you. Here's the shifter, it's in front of me. We wanted to know the distance between these mounts, and so John traced them on paper, and here's the mounts. Then here's the engine mounts, and I'll show the world those in a second, but those are far away, so I'll show everything else first. Here's suspension V31 attached to this side. Here's the right side suspension V31, and here was the trick, is we had to add washers to work with the length of bolts we have. These bolts, we had to reverse the nuts so that the nylon lock nut engaged. So here's the normal orientation. You can see the purple nylon lock, which we want to make sure is covered by a thread. We had to actually flip them upside down, which took a long time. Abby was vital for that. Then we took this machined plate and are using it to drill on. Now Lorena just drilled 4, and John O'Connell's about to drill the other 4. And then I'll quickly show the engine mounts. And the oil shelf's outside. It's kind of dark, but it's there. Here's the engine mounts. John and Abby measured these. Okay. Lorena, since I know you've got to go, I'll ask you first, if somebody were doing this somewhere in the world, something like what we're doing here, what tip might you give them to help them get it done faster and happier?
I would recommend working in teams of 2 or more to get more perspective and another eye of quality assurance.
It totally helped us today, a lot. Okay, awesome. That's a great one. John, if someone were doing something like we did today somewhere in the world, what tip would you give them?
Well, I mean, I did have kind of trouble. This is kind of awkward to measure. I probably could use some clamps or something to help steady it so I could measure it a little bit better. But I actually ended up getting really good help with that. So
awesome. And Abby, if someone was doing some of the work you did tonight somewhere else in the world, what tip would you give them to be happier and faster?
When we were measuring the holes for the engine mount, it really helped to have 2 of us working on it so that we could double check our measurements.
Yeah, no joke. Awesome. And then the tip I was going to give, I already mentioned that sometimes we have to flip the nylon lock nuts so that they engage if we don't have bolts the right length. And I didn't. I ran out of bolts the right length. That's what I got.
You can order more bolts at the right length.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to write that down before I close the shop down in just the next few minutes. That's it, folks, from Lynnwood, Washington, United States, today, August 6, 2015.